The movie begins. In a world consumed by an unseen terror, Mallory receives a desperate radio message about a safe haven. With no time to waste, she gathers her two children, warning them never to remove their blindfolds or they will die. Clutching a small box of pet birds, she carefully follows a string trail to reach the boat, beginning their perilous river journey. But how did it come to this? 5 years earlier, Mallory, a pregnant artist, was visited by her sister, Jessica. As they chatted, news of a mass suicide epidemic spreading from Siberia to Europe played in the background. Dismissing it, they left for Mallory's checkup. The appointment was uneventful, but outside they saw a woman smashing her head against a glass window. Chaos erupted, people fled in terror, cars crashed, and suicides unfolded before their eyes. The phenomenon had reached the US. Panicked, the sisters rushed to their car. But suddenly, Jessica's eyes glazed over and she became erratic, speeding wildly. Their car crashed, but both survived. Mallory, dazed, crawled out, only to watch Jessica calmly step into traffic, struck dead by a truck. Alone, Mallory ran through the streets, dodging explosions and hysteria. A woman offered help despite her husband Douglas's protests, but before she could reach Mallory, she spoke to an unseen force and climbed into a burning car, which exploded. Stunned, Mallory was saved by Tom, who pulled her into a house, where Greg, the owner, sheltered a small group of survivors. Theories swirled: demons, supernatural forces, or the apocalypse itself. One truth was clear: anyone who saw the entity took their own life. Desperate, the group covered all windows. A couple attempted to contact their son, but, hearing his distress, left to find him, never returning. Soon after, all signals went out, leaving them isolated. Back in the present, Mallory and the children had spent 6 tense hours on the river. She called for survivors over the radio, keeping the children hidden under a blanket. The birds in the box, her only warning system, suddenly fluttered frantically. Eerie whispers called her name, but she shut them out, staying resolute. In the past, a desperate knock shattered the silence. A terrified, pregnant woman, Olympia, pleaded for sanctuary. Douglas insists on keeping her out, but Mallory refuses to ignore suffering and demands they help. Tension builds as she keeps a rifle close. Everyone shuts their eyes until they confirm the newcomer, Olympia, is no threat. Eager for answers, Greg volunteers for a risky experiment, using the house's security cameras to glimpse outside without direct eye contact. The group secures him to a chair in front of the monitors and steps back. Minutes pass before a disturbing noise fills the air. Rushing in, they find Greg slumped over, his skull shattered. In horror, they destroy the screen, realizing the experiment has failed catastrophically. That night, Mallory, unable to sleep, hears strange noises. Her heart pounds, but it's just Lucy and Felix sneaking off for alone time. Meanwhile, in the present, Mallory and the children continue their dangerous journey. After 14 grueling hours of rowing, a voice calls out, promising safety and urging her to remove her blindfold. Sensing danger, she warns the children not to listen and fires blindly, missing. Suddenly, a man leaps onto the boat, clawing at her blindfold, claiming the entity is beautiful. The birds screech in warning as Mallory struggles. In sheer desperation, she grabs a machete and ends his life. Back in the past, the dwindling food supply forces the group to act. Mallory, Tom, Douglas, Lucy, and Charlie brave the outside world, heading to a supermarket. They black out the car windows and navigate with GPS, bumping into wrecks, dodging bodies, and hearing eerie sounds. The GPS detects movement all around them. Shadows shift, pressure builds against the car, but they press on until they arrive. Inside, they cover the windows before removing their blindfolds. The supermarket is a temporary refuge, and they gather supplies, including baby essentials and a cage of birds Mallory decides to keep. Douglas suggests staying, but Mallory refuses to abandon those at the house. Then, desperate knocking shatters their peace. Charlie freezes. It's his former co-worker, trapped in a freezer, pleading for help. Hesitant, they crack the door open. The birds screech in alarm, but it's too late. The man isn't human anymore. He lunges, trying to force the door open, raving about the entity's magnificence. In a split-second decision, Charlie sacrifices himself, shoving the man back inside. Blood pools beneath the door, confirming his fate. The group, shaken, has no choice but to leave. Back at the house, betrayal strikes. A commotion in the garage sends everyone rushing in, only to find their worst fear realized. Lucy and Felix have stolen their only car and vanished into the night. Jumping to the present, Mallory, beyond exhaustion, finally stops rowing after 24 brutal hours. The nightmare is far from over, but for now, she allows herself a moment to breathe, knowing she must keep going. As Mallory battles exhaustion, unease gnaws at her. Instinct takes over. She rows again. Disaster strikes. The boat slams into a submerged truck, hurling the boy into icy water. She lunges, grabbing him just in time, but their food and blanket drift away. Shivering, she wraps him in her jacket, knowing they won't last long without supplies. With no choice, Mallory steers toward shore, orders the children to stay put, and ventures into the woods, tethering a string to the boat. In an abandoned building, she gathers food and a blanket. The string only stretches so far. Determined, she secures it to furniture and moves deeper. Then, movement. The string trembles. A shadow looms outside. Whispers slither through the air, calling her name. Panic grips her. She bolts for the exit, firing blindly behind her. The shot echoes. The little girl, ignoring Mallory's strict warning, steps off the boat to help. Mallory's heart pounds. She races back, yanks the child to safety, and scolds her. Grimly, she reminds them, if things go wrong, they must save themselves, no matter what. Flashback early in the outbreak, a new survivor arrives. Olympia, too trusting, lets him in without consulting the group. His name is Gary. Tom finds no weapons on him. Gary reveals a chilling truth. Some people, already unstable, are immune to the entity's effects. He escaped a group of escaped mental patients, forcing others to look at the creatures, calling them beautiful. Douglas doesn't believe him. He grabs a gun, demanding Gary be thrown out. Before he can act, Cheryl knocks him unconscious, locking him in the garage. Gary stays, a mistake they'll regret. Present 38 hours downriver. The worst is near, the rapids. One must open their eyes to steer. Both children volunteer. Mallory hesitates. She promised Olympia she'd protect her daughter, and she could never sacrifice her own son. Agonized, she chooses. No one will look. They'll go blind. Flashback. Inside the house, chaos erupts. Mallory and Olympia go into labor simultaneously. As the group scrambles to help, Gary drops his act. He pulls out eerie sketches, revealing his true allegiance. He's one of them. With a grin, he stuffs Mallory's pet birds into the fridge and tears down the newspaper-covered windows. Douglas, locked in the garage, watches in horror. Tom realizes too late. Gary knocks him out, then flings open the garage door. Douglas shields his eyes. Upstairs, 2 babies are born, their mothers oblivious to the nightmare below. Then Gary enters. He yanks open the blinds. Olympia, helpless, glances outside. Her expression twists into adoration. Mallory barely snatches the baby before Olympia steps forward and disappears. The nightmare is far from over. Gary forces Cheryl to witness the horror outside, pushing her into madness. She grabs a pair of scissors and ends her own life. Meanwhile, Mallory hides under a blanket with the babies, hoping to escape Gary's wrath. But Douglas isn't going down without a fight. He blindly fires a rifle, wounding Gary. Unfortunately, Gary quickly regains control, tackling Douglas over the railing and finishing him off with the same scissors Cheryl used. With the rifle now on the floor, Tom and Gary lunge for it at the same time. A struggle breaks out, and Mallory hears 2 gunshots ring through the house. Moments later, footsteps approach. But it's Tom. He's won. Fast forward 5 years. Tom and Mallory have built a life together, raising the kids while navigating this dangerous new world. They've developed a survival system, using strings as guides to scavenge for supplies. But one day, Mallory hears approaching cars during a supply run. She waits for them to pass before hurrying home to warn Tom. Concerned for their safety, they agree never to go out alone again. That night, an unexpected message crackles over the radio. A voice offers hope. There's a safe haven down the river, stocked with food and supplies. The instructions are clear. Reaching the compound means crossing dangerous rapids, where seeing might be necessary. The The birds in the forest can warn of approaching danger. Tom is ready to take the risk, but Mallory isn't convinced. It could be a trap. Soon, danger finds them first. While searching for supplies, they once again hear the ominous sound of those same cars. Realizing they're being hunted, Tom creates a diversion so Mallory and the kids can escape. The pursuers, insane survivors who force others to look at the entity, close in. Tom fights back, taking out several enemies, but he's outnumbered. In a desperate bid to protect his family, he removes his blindfold, ensuring perfect aim. He eliminates the last of the threats, but not before catching a glimpse of the entity himself. Powerless against its influence, he takes his own life. Heartbroken but determined, Mallory knows there's only one option left: reaching the sanctuary. After a grueling 42 hours on the river, the group nears the rapids. The waters grow violent, and despite Mallory's best efforts, the boat flips over, plunging them into chaos. Desperate, she calls for the children. The boy is still in the water, but the girl has made it to shore, ringing a small bell to signal her location. Mallory finds her just in time, but their journey isn't over. As they navigate the dense woods, an eerie whisper cuts through the air. Tom's voice. The entity is trying to manipulate them. The boy nearly removes his blindfold, but Mallory stops him just in time. The girl, however, is lost in the darkness. Mallory, guilt-ridden for being harsh earlier, calls out to her with a heartfelt apology. The girl hears her voice and returns safely. Following the sounds of birds, the trio rushes toward salvation, but the entity is closing in fast. They stumble, fall, and push forward, until finally, the compound's door swings open. They make it inside, just before the entity can reach them. Inside, they're greeted by the voice from the radio. Mallory soon realizes this is more than just a refuge. It's a school for the blind, home to a community of survivors. The birds, always alert to the entity's presence, serve as natural alarms, making this place the safest haven they've ever known. With a newfound sense of peace, Mallory finally gives the children names. The girl is named Olympia, in honor of her late mother. The boy is named Tom, after the man who sacrificed everything for them. And as one final act of freedom, Mallory opens her box and releases the birds, letting them join the others in their sanctuary. A new chapter begins. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to our channel for more great content. Thank you for watching.